So I started my recording career in 1975, and that was initially as a T-boy / tape op. We were the remote controls. CBS had a very good education policy of allowing the juniors to work on demo sessions in Studio 3. Studio 3 had the equipment that was originally in Studio 1 and 2, but had passed its best. So we got to cut our teeth on what were the punk and new wave bands of that era. My career path coincided with the most magnificent change in technology, because I'd seen an article in Mix magazine about Roger Linn inventing a Linn-drum. And I looked at it and I remember it. It was £3,600 in 1980, which was a staggering amount of money. And I used my advance to buy the Linn-drum, which I still have to this day. And that Linn-drum changed my life. I also read about the Australian company Fairlight developing the Fairlight CMI. I found it really exciting to be able to manipulate sound, fiddle with it, play with it all over different octaves. There was nothing else like it. With Culture Club, in the very beginning, we would actually demo the songs in my publisher's office, because I'd signed my deal to Rondor Music, and part of my deal was we could use their small writing room, which had a CR78 drum machine. I had my Korg Delta keyboard, and they had I think they had a Wurlitzer, and that was about it. When Do You Really Want to Hurt Me hit, it went through the roof. So then what would happen was we would pretty much go to Red Bus Studios, and very early on we learnt our lesson with George to try and get some form of guide vocal or some form of definitive answer, because what would often happen is George would sing it, we'd then program the track, he'd go to do the lead vocal and go, no, there's another bit. And we go, no, you never sang that bit before. No, that's how it goes. And go, but hang on a minute, those two bars weren't there when we demoed it. Cut to many years later, I'm now a successful producer with Culture Club, and Bruce phoned me and said, we need to make another Beach Boy record. We want to do it with the sound of the 80s. We want to kind of come right up to date. Brian wants to use a Fairlight. We want to use everything. We want to digitally record. You're the man for the job. And that's how I got the gig, because we could do things that they never could do before, from sampling vocals and using the Fairlight to trigger them. I've been a user of Arturia from day one. I had the very first collection, which used to come on a CD-ROM, and it had a big thick manual. The Mini Moog was one of the first incarnations. I still had my Moog at the time. And that's really what convinced me, because it was indistinguishable. It started to make me think differently. Yes, the graphic interface does look exactly like a Mini Moog, and I managed to make some of my software controllers function as the knobs, so I didn't have to use the screen, especially if I wanted to do a real-time little tweak of the filter or something. And then the second set came through, which had even more instruments. And then one of the ones that convinced me the most was when the Prophet 5 and the Prophet VS were available. Now I had both of those, and I did a quick A/B, and I went, wow, this is really impressive. For me as a producer, some of the very creative things are when you open the 2600. I've used the 2600. I used to own a 2600, and believe me, that is a great product, because apart from the fact you can get your sounds really quickly, some of the problems that I used to have with my old 2600, if you push a fader up and you've got it connected, there's similar to this, there's noise. The software one doesn't do any of that. You just can create great sounds, and to have the 3 oscillators, to have the ability to craft those great bass, fat, and I mean really, solid sound, is something that is superb. By having the entire collection in one place. Not only is it really great about finding patches and everything, but the individual plugins themselves represent phenomenal value, but it allows me as a producer to work with a whole range of different artists from different types of backgrounds, different ages, different loves and hates of different sounds, but we can all come together on a tone that we all love, and I think that's really important. Everything I learnt when I was 17 stays with me to this day in terms of how I do things. It's just a little bit easier now.